Hello, church. Here's our daily devotional for February 26th on a Thursday. And continuing with Proverbs chapter 10, we're going to do our whole final piece. So this will be part four and one large section. There's a few specific verses that I'm actually going to focus on, so I think we're going to go ahead and do the readings in their own individual context, and then we'll do parallel phrasings on a couple of parts. To set us up a little bit for what's going to impact the message a little more significantly, last night Steve Myron was preaching at our Lenten service, and he talked about the importance of having, his phrase was a bigger container. And it was related to a story about someone consuming salt and having a stream. And without getting into a lot of detail on that, this sense of having an expanded life so that we're able to better absorb some of the things that are going on around us is important. And will come up in Peterson's title specifically. So we're going to start with our New Revised Standard Version, and this will be beginning at verse 22 through the end of the chapter. For the NRSV, this is not a separate section or a break that Peterson observes, but here we go. The blessing of the Lord makes rich, and he adds no sorrow with it. Doing wrong is like sport to a fool, but wise conduct is a pleasure to a person of understanding. What the wicked dread will come upon them, but the desire of the righteous will be granted. When the tempest passes, the wicked are no more, but the righteous are established forever. Like vinegar to the teeth and smoke to the eyes, so are the lazy to their employers. The fear of the Lord prolongs life, but the years of the wicked will be short. The hope of the righteous ends in gladness, but the expectation of the wicked comes to nothing. The way of the Lord is a stronghold for the upright, but destruction for evildoers. The righteous will never be removed, but the wicked will not remain in the land. The mouth of the righteous brings forth wisdom, but the perverse tongue will be cut off. The lips of the righteous know what is acceptable, but the mouth of the wicked is perverse. Now, some commentary on verse 23, which actually was my preferred phrasing to Peterson's today, which is, doing wrong is like a sport to a fool. But wise conduct is a pleasure to a person of understanding. And here's our portion of commentary. Gets a little heady, so hopefully you'll be able to catch it. This verse states a mystery of folly. Its pleasure, the pleasure of folly, is to do evil. It is also a mystery to fools that wisdom may in fact give delight. The words sport, pleasure, and delight are the same word in Hebrew, and it does sehak, I think is how you pronounce it, which appears only in the first line and functions elliptically in the second. Just as a primary love determines the character and direction of individuals, groups, and societies, a basic theme of Proverbs 1-9, as well as Augustine's City of God, parenthetical notation, so also the sport of persons and culture shapes their character and reveals their ethos, their way of being. Our tendency towards good or evil depends on what we delight in. Yeah. So that's our New Revised Standard Version. And again, that focus verse is doing wrong is like sport to a fool, but wise conduct is a pleasure to a person of understanding. Now, before we actually get into Peterson, let me give you the Message's version of that same verse. Yeah. An empty head thinks mischief is fun, but a mindful person relishes wisdom. A full considering it sport is just, was my preferred phrase. Now, the verse that really caught me in Peterson, I think, is 27, which is, the fear of the Lord prolongs life, but the years of the wicked will be short. This verse becomes the title for Peterson's, in the way that he sectioned this part out. A reminder that our previous section he entitled "The Road to Life." The road to life is a disciplined life. This one is entitled "Fear of God Expands Your Life." So we've talked before, even back in Psalms, about what we mean by fear of the Lord. And we are not talking about fear in terms of being intimidated by another person, although sometimes that might be an appropriate context. We're talking about the reverential awe and respect and attitude that we have as a humbled people in the presence of God, our Creator. And that fear of God ultimately expanding our life, giving us bigger containers, is the catch. Fear of God, which he hyphenates and capitalizes, expands your life. God's blessing makes life rich. Nothing we do can improve on God. An empty head thinks mischief is fun, but a mindful person relishes wisdom. The nightmares of the wicked come true. What the good people desire, they get. When the storm is over, there's nothing left of the wicked. Good people, firm on their rock foundation, aren't even fazed. A lazy employee will give you nothing but trouble. It's vinegar in the mouth, smoke in the eyes. The fear of God expands your life. A wicked life is a puny life. The aspirations of good people end in celebration. The ambitions of bad people crash. God is solid backing to a well-lived life, but he calls into question a shabby performance. Good people last. They can't be moved. The wicked are here today, gone tomorrow. A good person's mouth is a clear fountain of wisdom. A foul mouth is a stagnant swamp. The speech of a good person clears the air. The words of the wicked pollute it. And I'm sure this will continue to come up as we're going through these Solomonic, or however you say that word, of Solomon wisdom sayings, because in Proverbs we're relating to the literature of wisdom, which is taking as its reality the presence and power of the kingdom of God, an established kingdom of God. Clearly, if we are starting to degenerate into thinking of reward and punishment, or, why is this suffering happening in there, things are going to get goofy. But if we think about things in terms of God's commandment and the heavenly kingdom and God's will, start to clarify a little bit more. And then, if we are able to apply ourselves with the concept of seeking the will of God rather than our own circumstances, our own issues and agendas and will, it starts to land a little bit differently too. All right, so that's it for today's. We'll be back with you for Friday as we step into Proverbs chapter 10. And we will see you then. Have a great day. Talk to you later.